about two chapters of the book that we're reading. So I'm going to start with the first chapter, that is the chapter number 4, that talk about the learning general inputs, learning mechanisms. So in this section, we basically are going to learn how the cognitive information and how the cognitive process are involved to understand, to develop, to connect, to build, and relates the information with the acquired information before. And also, we're going to understand the importance of the first language to the second language. For example, it's not the same thing to learn English as an Spanish speaker, as an Italian, or maybe as a Chinese speaker. We have like some things that simulates that we're going to learn this language. So I'm going to start with this important aspect that I found here, that is the meta-analysis. That basically is one idea about metacognitive that explains that the learner get used to assimilate the first language with the second one by its way of these morphemes, of this grammar, and all of these stuff. So let me move on with the presentation. We have here some important concepts to take into account. The most important and the most relevant concept that I found in this reading is the dialectic, that basically is like the interaction with other speakers, maybe that information that is not really clear on the mind of the learner. We have here, for example, the ground transfer. And the ground transfer, we can find maybe that we usually try to translate everything from our first language to the second one, and this is called the ground transfer because all the language has like its own rules. So one example that the teacher told us is the example that I am in the bus, and the correct way to say that is I am on the bus. Why? Because the English, like the language itself, has its own rules. So that is something that is really important. So let me move on with the emergentism and frequency. Emergentism basically is like an input. Input is any kind of exposure that a student can have with the language, with the environment in general. And frequency plays an important role because it's like the time that you put as a learner, that you put to study or maybe to practice one language in order to build a meaningful learning. So my partner is going to explain the rest of the conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay, in cognitive approaches, we can find the role of memory system and conscious learning. So for second language learners, it is essential to maintain some mechanisms in the process, such as information processing and attention, as well as awareness and increased memory capacity. Now, we will see the two types, different types about of knowledge underpinning human learning. We can find declarative knowledge and procedural knowledge. It is the explicit or conscious knowledge, and procedural is the knowledge about how to do something, or implicit knowledge. We can find two similitudes about two types. One system cannot process data for the other, and children learn procedurally as explicitly, while adults mostly through the declarative way. Okay, and now we must highlight the explicit knowledge, information processes, and skill acquisition. We can have two authors. According to William, a person has explicit knowledge if they already know something about something and they are able to use it in verbal speech, verbal reporting, and speech reporting. And according to Han and Ellis, who has explicit knowledge is typically able to use it in tasks and that allow carefully planning and monitoring. We have a big question about the two aspects. So how do you react in different aspects to know if knowledge is explicit or implicit? So the answer is depending on the degree of awareness and for the table, the time available. For example, in the implicit one, there is time pressure, and the explicit one, there is not. For example, focusing on attention for those who have implicit knowledge implies focusing first on the meaning, but for the explicit knowledge, the form is paramount. And finally, we can we can to see the knowledge and learning because are not the same. So knowledge is the result of learning, and although it can also occur through experience as something empirical, we can see all the time in the classroom with the children and their process in learning. So thank you. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for seeing. Bye.
Okay, thank you. That's it. We try to cover like all the important aspects in the reading, but it was like something really difficult to have like not enough time to explain everything, but we're trying to do our best. So thank you for everything and thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.